In the spring when you're planting your tomatoes, or even in the early summer, they start off fairly small, but it doesn't take very long and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they're laying on the ground and flopping all over the place. So those small tomatoes turn into great big monsters sometimes during the summertime. And there's a lot of different ways we can stake them up and give them some support. And the good thing about using a support system is, as the tomatoes develop, it's much better if they're not laying on the ground. The tomatoes need to be up off the ground, and then it helps open the plant up so you can get sunlight and air circulation in there, so you're less likely to get diseases, and your tomatoes will ripen up a lot better. So there's a lot of different cages and stakes and spirals and trellises that you can use for tomatoes. I'm going to show you just a couple real quick ones here right now. So most common ones are just some steel tomato cages. These have been around for years and years and years. There's a lot of different sizes. I've got them in 3 different sizes. Least expensive, just very generic, and they're kind of shaped like ice cream cones. So the stakes go down into the ground and the tomatoes will grow up through. It's got support all along the growth of the tomato. And a small cage like this can handle, you know, some smaller plants, but I've had my plants get, you know, 4, 5, 6 feet tall. A small cage like this just can't quite handle them, so you've got to move up to a little bit larger cage. So these cages right here come in, of course, designer colors, so you've got a lot of different colors on the cages. This is just a red and blue one, but much larger, as you can see, and a lot heavier gauge steel. So this is a much larger gauge steel and powder coated, so they'll last for years. I've got some like this at home, and they will last probably, I've had them for 7 years, and they still look like the day I took them home. Got a little bit of dirt on them, but they're still doing great. And again, you're going to stick these down into the ground. You can stick them in, 12 inches, give your plants some real good support. And this is built for a much larger plant, and it will give those big plants a lot of support and allow that air and that sunlight to get in there, help ripen up your tomatoes. As they get really big, I'll even trim them back just a little bit to allow that sunlight to get in there, and it really does help ripen up your tomatoes. My favorite cage, though, is made right here in Cache Valley, and it's called the Handy Cage. And this is a handy cage, and it's basically 2 squares or 2 angles that you can put together and make a square. The great thing about the handy cages is, even if your tomatoes are larger and they have a lot of size to them, it's difficult to slide a cage like this over the top of them. You've got to get this on when your plants are really small and hope that they develop and get bigger and grow into the cage. The handy cages you can take and put in around a plant and support them even if the plants are fully grown, and then the tomato will grow out through the cage. They're very, very versatile. You can use them for a lot of different things. You could even take multiples and make much bigger cages out of them. So you could take 2 sets of handy cages and make them a much larger cage for a really big tomato or a really big plant. And then in the springtime, we'll take them and lay them on the ground over our seedlings and put a little bit of plastic or a little frost cloth over the top of them and protect the plants that way. So the handy cages, not only are they made right here in Cache Valley, very hefty steel, powder coated, very versatile. You can use them for a lot of different things, and it really gives your plants a lot of support, and will keep them looking good throughout the summertime. Give them that support and that air circulation and the sunlight that they need to really develop and grow properly.